Hey, this is Lorena, and I wanted to do a video for you on how to do the cross-hatching on this. How did they quilt that design series 1? I know it's a lot of long arming, but I wanted to share every little element that involved doing this project. I thought it was important when I first started long arm quilting or quilting of any kind, especially long arm quilting. I didn't know how the heck they did that. So I'm not sure exactly how professional long arm quilters, custom quilters do that, but I'm sharing with you how I did it, and it's coming out really pretty. It looks good. I'm really proud of it. Let me just say this. There's a lot of mistakes in it, but I'm coming to the realization that done is better than hoping one day to get done. So I do have a PDF that I'm downloading on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group so you could practice this kind of cross-hatching, because, you know, I would love to see some of you try it. It'd be nice to, you know, see you guys do it too. Not just watch me, but, you know, yeah, participate. I'll see you in the long run. All right, bye. Okay, I wanted to share that I made a PDF for this process. I will download it on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group if you want to print it for yourself. I also wanted to share that when I was doing this design on the banner, that I had a 4th seam, and I'm going to call this seam a travel seam. I also have one on the very top of this design and one on the very bottom of this design, because you're going to need the seam to travel around the cross hatching. What I did is I had my ruler right on the line of the design, and it created a 1/4 seam. Of course, when you're drawing it in, you would have to just create that. I also had a line in the center of the paper, so it showed me where I needed to stop and then turn the ruler and start again. Of course, I would start at the bottom on my long arm and then come up. Now, this was, for me, the hardest part of doing this, because sometimes I did not line up my ruler perfectly to the original line and the design that I made. So I wanted to share that I had the distance of a 1/2 inch, and I'm drawing it in, but I'm going to share how you quilt it in. You go down and you travel up that line, the original line, the first line you made, and then come up and travel on that travel stitch. Then you rotate your ruler the opposite direction, which I will do in a second, and then you do the same exact process. So I'm going down that travel stitch and I go back up the original. That's what you would do on the long arm, and then stitch back, and this is what the design looks like. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on the long arm. Right here is where I had the most difficulty, but the blessing is you can unstitch, and coming back up and on the top of the ruler, you could see that I'm not right on the line, so my lines in this area would sometimes wobble or move or look weird. The truth, it looked weird. So here you see I'm going all the way down the first stitch line that I made, traveling up that stitch line, and I'm coming back up, and my distance is a 1/2 inch. Travel down that travel stitch. Yes, I'm making new terminology here. Came back up and traveled on that travel stitch and drew my first lines for this cross hatching. Then I turned my ruler around and use that original line that I first drew. I traveled down, traveled up the second line I drew, and traveled back up, and traveled on that travel stitch, going down, coming up, and then coming back up on that travel stitch, and I kept doing that until I finished this. Now, let me just share this. I made a lot of mistakes here. Sometimes, for some reason, I don't know if I was tired, I would wobble off, my lines weren't right. I think I was just tired, but this is what it looks like when you're completely done. I wanted to show you a different view of what it looks like and how I have my hands. So here you see me traveling up the line and coming up, and just me using each line that I created as a guide for the next line. That's why I think my first 2 lines that I created were the most important, because that determined how this cross hatching would look. If my first lines were kind of off or wonky, it made my other lines off or wonky. You know how before I was talking about that you could go ahead and just mark and go along? Well, I wanted to see if I could go ahead and do that because it was taking me a lot of time to finish one design at a time. And let me just tell you, and I'm going to post a clip of it, I personally had a lot of struggles doing that. And I feel that the reason I did is because as I marked along, I had a mark with a water-soluble dark mark. It wasn't a clear chalk mark that I could see brightly on this purple satin. And when I was going to each anchor point, I got lost. Oh, so anyway, I wanted to share with you that for me personally, one design at a time worked better. I also think that the poly batting, that it was so lofty, it made it harder to find those anchor points that I marked with a water-soluble marker that just darkened the fabric. Anyway, I'm going to share with you, kind of that kind of view. So, yeah. I recommend you do one at a time. Now I wanted to do this video and share with you because I wanted to see if I could go ahead and mark all the way down and start doing the design horizontal. Oh my gosh. This is pretty much the most of the footage that I have, and I wanted to share why I do not recommend you doing this. First of all, you can see that I have the pen in my mouth because I marked everything and I was anxious when I did it. Another thing is I had problems seeing the original markings. If I marked one design, there was easier to focus, but focusing on 3 or 4 designs and quilting across and coming back and forth, I ended up making the most mistakes and having the most wobbles and having the most frustration doing this. Now, I can imagine when you're professional and you know what the heck you're doing, this would be the simplest and easiest way to do this. And also, when you're doing this, also the top cross-hatching would be the easiest and more time-effective way of doing this. But I made the most mistakes when I did it this way. So I just wanted to share that I had tried it and it just didn't work. So I started focusing on one design at a time, and that's how I did this. Yeah. I also wanted to share with you that this process is a lot of fun and it looks beautiful when you do it. And even if you make mistakes, no one sees them but you. Yeah. You focus on one, not moving across and trying to come back. And yeah, I'm not that good. One at a time for me worked better. And I also had to unstitch a lot. So I'm letting you know that yes, it looks nice, but there was a lot of unstitching. I did make a lot of mistakes that y'all can't see. Yes. But I'm really glad that it's getting done. So I hope you like this video, and I'll see ya in the next one. All right, bye.